Tired of the usual isekai tropes, the overpowered hero who's always right, the fantasy world that instantly worships them, the predictable good versus evil storyline, then this anime may be for you. A story where morality isn't clear, and every victory comes at a cost. That's exactly what you get in the Saga of Tanya the Evil. And if you've already seen it, then this video isn't just about telling people to watch it. It's about explaining why it works so well. Because once you break down its premise, world building, and storytelling, you realize it's doing something very different from most isekai. The story begins with a modern Japanese salaryman, a cold, hyper-rational corporate worker who believes only in logic and personal effort. After a confrontation with a mysterious godlike entity known as Being X, he's reincarnated into another world, but not into a peaceful fantasy kingdom. Instead, he's reborn as Tanya Deborashaf, a young girl. In the middle of a war-torn empire, this world resembles an alternate version of early 20th century Europe, with trench warfare, artillery, and industrialized conflict, except with one major difference. Magic exists. Elite soldiers known as mages can fly through the air, shield themselves from gunfire, and unleash devastating magical attacks across the battlefield. And Tanya quickly rises through the military ranks thanks to her cold logic and unmatched tactical thinking, in part due to her reincarnation, which gives her a perspective with insight from the future. But here's where the story becomes interesting. Tanya isn't trying to conquer the world. She just wants to live a peaceful life far away from the front lines. And Being X, ironically, her brilliance keeps sending her into more dangerous battles. Most isekai protagonists are designed to be relatable heroes. They're kind, they're noble, and usually they're always morally correct. Tanya is the opposite. She's pragmatic, calculating, and completely willing to make brutal decisions if it leads to victory. The show portrays her actions as evil and ruthless, but her character simply isn't motivated by evil intentions. Because from Tanya's perspective, she's just following the logic of survival in a world she was involuntarily placed in. In war, hesitation means death, and in a system built on conflict, efficiency becomes morality. The depth of moral ambiguity is one of the biggest reasons the series stands out. It forces the audience to ask uncomfortable questions. Is Tanya all evil, or is she simply the most honest product of a brutal world? Another reason the story works so well is its setting. In a twist from most fantasy isekai worlds filled with guilds and demon kings, the Saga of Tanya the Evil takes place in something much closer to a real-world setting. The empire Tanya serves resembles Imperial Germany, while neighboring countries mirror real historical powers. The result is a world that feels grounded and believable, and it opens up interesting contentions since Tanya is from a future very similar to the one she finds herself in. So, for those of you who like this historical time period, it makes an intriguing parallel while also adding in its own twists. The battles aren't won through power of friendship. They're won through logistics, strategy, and brutal efficiency. Entire campaigns revolve around things like supply lines, military doctrine, strategic deception, political maneuvering. It's less like a fantasy adventure and more like a military drama with a tinge of fantasy tropes. What really makes Saga of Tanya the Evil stand out is its narrative structure. Most isekai stories revolve around wish fulfillment. The protagonist gets power, allies, admiration, and an easy path to success. This quickly leads the story to becoming stagnant, shallow, and boring. The protagonist never faces real challenges anymore, and there isn't anything interesting left to explore. But this story works in the opposite direction. Every time Tanya tries to secure an easier life, her success makes things worse. Her brilliant tactics win battles. Those victories earn promotions, and those promotions push her deeper into the war. It's a perfect example of ironic storytelling. The very thing Tanya wants most, peace and stability, is constantly pushed further away by her own competence. At the same time, the series introduces a philosophical conflict between rationalism and faith. Tanya believes the universe is governed purely by logic, but the omniscient being X challenges that assumption by interfering in events and twisting Tanya's fate. So, beneath the military action and political intrigue, the story is also about free will, belief, and defiance against fate. So if you're tired of predictable isekai stories or shallow hero tropes, Saga of Tanya the Evil offers something different. A morally gray protagonist, a war-torn world grounded in strategy and politics, and a narrative that constantly subverts the usual genre expectations. It's an isekai that doesn't just transport a character to another world. It uses that premise to explore power, morality, and survival in a far more complex way. And that's exactly why it stands out. If you want an anime that stands out from the rest, where the typical trope is challenged, and if you want a protagonist who challenges the entire idea of what a protagonist should be, then Saga of Tanya the Evil is absolutely worth watching. It transforms the typical formula into something far more intellectually interesting and morally complex. It's a little niche, but special, and right now is actually the perfect time to get into it. The series already has 14 light novels, a manga adaptation, an anime, and a movie. And with season 2 of the anime announced, the story is far from over.